Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to a little PTL Overtime on a Tuesday. I'm Brian Shapiro. Thank you so much for joining us. As I mentioned earlier, we're starting out this page where we're doing overtime of the PTL radio show every day. This is the second day we're doing it. All you have to do is subscribe to my YouTube page, which is at PTL Radio Show, and I appreciate all you guys doing it. So what did we do today? Well, we had, if those of you that maybe missed the show, I would imagine most of you watched it. We had Alan Bigelow in studio. He's a staunch Republican, and he's a big Donald Trump supporter. The part that confuses me, and I have the utmost respect for Alan, right? He served this country honorably. He's a former police officer. He's a firefighter. But what drives me a little crazy is how, wonderful people, great people, and I believe Alan is one of those people. He's a great guy. How could you vote for a guy who says you're a sucker and a loser serving this country honorably? How could you vote for a guy who says, I don't respect John McCain because he was captured? How could you vote for a guy? Hi, Linda. How could you vote for a guy who's a liable rapist? I mean, that's the point that I really don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Alan's a really nice man. He's a good guy. But, there's three different types of Republicans, and you guys could all tell me if you disagree. Hi, Lori. Hi, Linda. Hi, GQ. Appreciate you guys joining us on overtime here. Hi, Peggy. There's all sorts of different Republicans out there, but let me just try to break it down, and you guys can tell me whether you agree or disagree. There's the type of Republican that is a Reagan Republican that thinks Donald Trump is repugnant, disgusting, and they'll vote for anybody else but Donald Trump. Then there's the Alan Bigelow type of Republican, good person, smart, educated, but even if Donald Trump is the nominee, they hate Joe Biden so much, and they hate his policies so much that they would vote for a liable rapist. That's the part that puzzles me the most. There's always going to be the ignorant MAGA supporters, right? There's always going to be the base of Trump supporters where Donald Trump said I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they'll still vote for me. Alan's not one of those people, but he's a good man, but it drives me nuts because here's a man who served this country and he hates Joe Biden so much that he'd vote for a felonious, liable rapist. That's the part that I just don't understand it. I mean, help me out with this. And then there's the third Republican, and those are the Klan, type Republicans, and the Republicans that are in their bigotry. Lori asked my question for Alan: how can you sell out something that hasn't even been periodically? I understand that question. Listen, I have these types of conversations with Republicans every day. You're either a huge MAGA Republican, and you call Joe Biden a pedophile, or you're the type of Republican that's educated and just you'll vote for an R, no matter who they are. I can't relate to that. I can tell you right now, I would never vote for a Democrat if they were found liable for sexual abuse. I don't care who the Democrat is. I wouldn't support that person. Bill Clinton might have been a good president, and he probably was a good president. But if Bill Clinton ran right now, I wouldn't vote for Bill Clinton because I believe he sexually assaulted women in his life. I wouldn't vote for Bill Clinton. I'd vote for Al Gore. I think he's a decent man. I wouldn't vote for Bill Clinton. I'm not a big Hillary Clinton supporter, but if Hillary was running against Trump, I'd vote for Hillary in a second. This is just who I am. This is the way that I was raised. It's one thing if you disagree with policy. Example, there are Republicans out there that I have some respect for. I have a lot of respect for Mitt Romney. Don't agree with him on a lot of policy disagreements on. But I respect Mitt Romney because he's called out Donald Trump and he's called him out from years back. It didn't just start yesterday. I have respect for Mitt Romney. I would vote for Mitt Romney. I respect Liz Cheney. I disagree with her 99% of the time. But I respect Liz Cheney because she decided to choose right over wrong versus her own political career and staying in power. If Liz Cheney didn't vote to impeach Donald Trump, she would still be in office. I respect Liz Cheney. I respect Adam Kinzinger, another one who's been on the right side of history, even though it took a little while. I do have respect for Chris Christie. But these are Republicans who decided, you know what? I'm going to put my political career aside, and I'm going to do what's right. And I will always respect the Mitt Romneys of the world for doing that. And what do these MAGA Republicans do? They call them rhinos. They get them out of office. They attack them because they don't kiss the ring of orange Cheeto Jesus. How do you respect somebody like that? How? Becky says there's good and bad, but I'm voting blue. If there was a decent Republican, I would vote as long as they weren't a Trumper. I agree with you. There are decent Republicans that are running across the country, obviously not for president. Here's the sad part about Nikki Haley, right? She said that Donald Trump's unfit for office, that he's a disaster if he wins re-election. She said all these the last couple weeks. Nikki Haley cannot be trusted, and you cannot ever take her seriously ever again if, in fact, she endorses Donald Trump. And I believe she will. She's going to be out of the race very soon, and she's going to endorse Donald Trump. And when she does, we can't take anything she says seriously. Now, maybe she'll surprise me. Maybe she won't. But it's really weird times that we're living in right now. It really is frustrating and weird times that we're living in. I vote for Joe Biden in a heartbeat. And I thought Joe Biden did a pretty good job on late night television yesterday as well, by the way. I had this conversation with some friends last night where they talked about, a Trumper was talking about how Joe Biden, he loses his memory. He's not sharp. Joe Biden is your typical average 81-year-old man. Both Donald Trump and Joe Biden are old. I wish that somebody younger would be running for office. I really do. But Joe Biden does not have Alzheimer's. He's your typical 81-year-old man. He's old. So, you have all these right-wing doctors out there coming out of the woodworks with no medical credentials at all. Oh, Joe Biden has Alzheimer's. Joe Biden, he's forgetful. He has Alzheimer's. It's a bunch of fucking bullshit. Pardon my French. Many of these people are the same assholes who said that wearing a mask doesn't do any good for you, and the vaccines are going to give you all, are going to kill you. It's poison. These people don't have any medical credentials. They're not Joe Biden's personal physician. And in the last month, Donald Trump confused Nikki Haley with Nancy Pelosi. He said you need ID to buy bread. He said Jeb Bush got us into the war in Iraq. He said he defeated Barack Obama. So for all these idiots out there that want to say Joe Biden's in the bunker and he's got Alzheimer's, look at the stuff that Donald Trump says on a daily basis. He's also old. That's not my biggest criticism of Donald Trump. He has gaffes. Joe Biden has gaffes. They're both old. I want younger people in office. Make no mistake about it. If it's Joe Biden versus Donald Trump, I vote for Joe Biden in a heartbeat. I don't even think about it, ladies and gentlemen. So for those of you that are part of this, I guess you could call it overtime on PTL. I'm going to be trying to do this every single day. And I appreciate you subscribing to my YouTube page. If you haven't, it's at PTL Radio Show. I'm also going to give you a preview every day of what we're going to have on the show tomorrow. You might have heard of a guy by the name of Carmine Sabia. So Carmine Sabia is a very popular right-wing podcaster. He's a staunch Donald Trump supporter. We are going to get into it tomorrow. He's going to join us on the show. I'm also going to be talking about Ashley Babbitt tomorrow a little bit more. Why? Because Ashley Babbitt's been trending on social media again as of late, and there are people on the right that are calling her a hero. Ashley Babbitt's mother made appearances at CPAC and did a lot of interviews, not putting any responsibility about what, in my opinion, is her domestic terrorist daughter who paid the ultimate price and was killed because of her stupidity. So I'm going to talk about Ashley Babbitt a little bit on the show tomorrow. Also, Dr. Phil made a very controversial appearance on The View today, and it's a perfect example of another moron who's not an infectious disease expert who's talking about vaccines and infectious disease. Dr. Phil made some statements that were so ignorant on The View today and so medically unproven. I'm going to play some of those clips tomorrow on the show. We're going to talk a little bit about Dr. Phil and the stupid COVID misinformation that he spews. We're going to talk about Ashley Babbitt, what's on January 6th with her and how the right looks at her as some sort of hero, just like they look at somebody like a Kyle Rittenhouse as some sort of hero. It's an embarrassment. So we're going to talk about those two topics tomorrow. And we're also going to have Carmine Sabia joining us, very popular right-wing podcaster, joining us on the show tomorrow. So the best thing that you can do for me is spread the word about this show. We get about 50,000 views a day on social media. So that's what we want to do. We want to continue to expand the show. I also give out my personal email so people can reach out to me on there, which is brianshapiro@kshp.com. If you have any questions, any constructive criticisms, I respond. I try to respond to everybody. You can email me on there as well. And check out my website. It's a very new website. We just put it up. It's still in the works. It's still working. We're still working on it, but it's ptlradio.com, where you can look at my personal website and sign up for our newsletter, ptlradio.com. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing this stuff every day, probably, 5 to 10 minutes a day, where we just kind of talk about the show and what we did on the show and a preview of what we do on the show tomorrow. I want to try to do this every single day with all of you, my loyal listeners. So thank you, Linda, for telling all of your friends about my show. I appreciate you, and I appreciate all of you for being a part of what we do here. Try to entertain, but also educate and talk about the issues and try to get unique and interesting guests on the show every day. I'd like to think that I am doing something that literally nobody else in the country is doing. News, politics, sports, entertainment, I kind of cover it all on this show. And even though I lean to the left on a lot of social issues, I interview more Republicans than Democrats because I don't want to interview people that I agree with. Find me a right-wing show that takes a bunch of liberal callers that call in. Rush Limbaugh didn't do it. Sean Hannity doesn't do it. Clay Travis doesn't do it because they're cowards. That's why. I welcome calls on the other side. I welcome people that I disagree with, and I like to have good out debates with them in conversations. And today was actually no exception to that. And tomorrow when Carmine comes on, we're going to be doing that as well. I appreciate all of you joining me. Thank you so much. We're going to be doing these overtime segments after the show every day. Follow me on X as well, at PTL Radio. You can find me on there. You can also find me on the Facebook fan page, not just on Occupy Democrats, where you can subscribe there, but also on the Facebook PTL fan page as well. So we're all over the place. The show is growing every single day, and I'm very humbled and appreciative of all of you. And tomorrow is going to be a fun show. I can't wait. I hope all you guys join me on the show. Thank you, Lori, Alicia, Dee, Linda. I appreciate all of your support. I really do. GQ, Peggy. So the goal here is to get a bunch of people in this chat every day after the show so that you guys can ask me personal questions. When I'm on the radio, I take calls, but I'm not able to see all the comments. I wish I had a full-time producer, a second producer that could do that for me. I don't have time to do that. But when I do this, I'm able to respond personally to all of you. And I kind of like that. It's kind of more intimate to do it this way. Thank you all for joining me. We will see you on the air tomorrow. Same time, same place. Appreciate all of you. You guys have a great day, okay?